Jeff Brohm, ladies and gentlemen, the coach of the Louisville Cardinals, the Grim Reaper of top 5 teams with very hopeful dreams. Born in 1971, Louisville, Kentucky. This guy terrorized us as Hurricanes, right? As Hurricanes, we always expect a mid-season or end of the season collapse, right? Under offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson, which we will get into in this video. But make no mistake, Brohm is the coach to lose to if you wanted to lose to somebody. Last year, he did beat Clemson, which went on to win the ACC championship, which I don't think Miami will make unless we beat SMU on the road. We have to win that game. We have to win out. And, other ACC teams have to take some losses, including Georgia Tech conference-wise. But looking ahead to the rest of the season, doesn't look like it's going to happen. Anyways, Jeff Brohm, his playing stats at Louisville when he was a quarterback, because that's where he went to, actually, for school and play quarterback. He had 5,451 passing yards, tied for 38 touchdown passes, and amongst the school leaders in total offense, y'all. After his playing career, which included time in NFL and XFL, he moved into coaching. He was originally an assistant coordinator, then head coach, right? So he was an assistant at Louisville, quarterbacks coach too, a passing game coordinator, and an offensive coordinator later. Also was head coach at Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, where his offenses were known to be nationally strong. Now, his main achievements have been the top 5 teams he's beaten. He beat number 2 Iowa when he was at Purdue. Head coach at Purdue, 2017 to 2022. He was named head coach at Louisville December of 2022. That's where he began his 23 season there, which was legendary, right? But when he was at Purdue, he took them and won. That was the first time they won their conference in the championship game. So, he's legendary even at Purdue. His offensive creativity and ability to produce high-powered offenses. His teams, even at Western Kentucky, his teams ranked top 10 nationally in scoring offense, total offense. He has a reputation for achieving big wins, especially defeating ranked opponents and turning around programs, y'all. At Purdue, like I said, 2022, his team won the Big Ten West Division, a first time for that program. At Louisville, in his first season, his team reached the ACC championship. First appearance in that title game and posted a 10-win regular season. At the end of the day, his most recent upset was the Miami Hurricanes. I told y'all he upset Clemson last year. And we're going to dive into how maybe that played a role in our season, because that was a hiccup we did not want to face. We didn't want to see that. But at the same time, it was a wake-up call. So it's only going to make you or break you. That's just how situations like these play out. But I am against one thing with Shannon Dawson. Shannon Dawson, as an offensive coordinator, his track record hasn't been the best. All right, a lot of people say that Cam Ward hit a lot of his bad last year, right? But he was at Houston Cougars. He spent 2020 to 2022 as offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. The quarterbacks under him actually threw it was 80-something touchdowns, 13 nationally with a completion rate in the 60s, right? His offense is prior, like West Virginia, also ranked well in total offense and passing. He has that air raid offensive tree. He incorporates modern passing concept, but it also has the need for balance, right? In Miami's offense, 2022 was weak, 86 in total offense, 97th in scoring, so they went in need of what his style would offer. Obviously, they went through a lot. Mario Cristobal, they were looking for someone to revamp the offense after a very disappointing year, and Dawson's resume fit that need. Fit was key, not just production and pass stops, but I guess someone who could adapt and blend a modern passing game with the kind of physicality Cristobal wants. However, remember that with the offense underperforming and staff turnover happening, the job was open. There was urgency to fill it, giving Dawson a chance. He was gave the chance. His appointment as Miami Hurricanes offensive coordinator in February, though, was a strategic move to revitalize us, right? Okay, after Josh left, disappointing 22 season, we ranked 86, like I said, right? 97th in scoring. Okay, his philosophy, a fast-paced, pass-heavy attack. Even in Houston, his offenses were known for high-scoring, efficient passing, right? But at the same time, it's I'll repeat again. I don't care if 2024, under his guidance, he led the nation in scoring, 43.9 per game, and, yards, 500 something per game with quarterback Cam Ward, right? Standout season, ACC Player of the Year honors, #1 pick in the draft. I honestly feel like Cam Ward hit up a lot of his deficiencies. But let's get here, y'all. His in-game adjustments is where the critics come. Remember, Dawson, when you look at his track record, Miami is his biggest tenure, right? So when you put us in that big pedestal, you have to put us there with these. Mario Cristobal been to Oregon, right? Okay, he was chosen for that. But Mario Cristobal, he's a runner up the middle. He just wants to punch people in the mouth. Everybody sees this, right? Too predictable. When we played against Louisville, what happened? They packed the box, and the one time we ran the jet sweep, y'all, the man scored a touchdown, Malachi Tony. They couldn't match our speed. Yes, somehow they never went to the outside again. Shannon Dawson, the comeback from Syracuse last year, and I'm not the only one saying this. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other fans that will tell y'all this same thing, and even people that actually break down the sport. But why is it that we mess the bet up whenever there's big games on the line, and whenever it's a game we shouldn't be losing? Syracuse last year was our ticket to the playoffs. We lost that with Cam Ward, even him being the high power. So the problem is you can have this high powered offense, but if you're too predictable, which is what I'm going to say about Shannon Dawson, he's too predictable. You got to have your ace plays in the clutch. You can't just expect to keep doing what you're doing, and teams will not adjust. Like when you play a tough guy like Jeff Brohm in Louisville, right? That's what they did. They adjusted, and they were successful with their adjustments. Now, we're not going to just put all the blame on Dawson. Carson Beck threw 4 picks. Some of those throws were like, yo, they have you scratching your head. Is he really like just trying to raise his draft stock? Is he really trying to shoot for the Heisman? I think also Dawson played a role in that because, like I said, it's a pass heavy. That 1st and 10 with 30-something seconds on the line, I'm sorry, y'all, that was not supposed to be played out like that. With Dawson and Cristobal there, we've known that clock management has not been the best. We can even take it back to that Georgia Tech game. Remember that game? Georgia Tech has beat us 2 years in a row. Now look at them. They're undefeated right now, which we should still be. There shouldn't have been no question it'd be Miami and Georgia Tech in the ACC game. But we fell behind early. Louisville scored touchdowns. Chris Bell was unstoppable when he was slant through. I mean, they jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Zachariah Poyser, our safety, even admitted that down the line, when they did their post interviews after the game, they literally said on the podium, oh, they came out with things we never seen before. Corey Heatherman, I tip my hat to you, man, because literally you put us back in the game. Look, people want to say defense didn't adjust. Defense had some busts, I understand. Like, that was something for Corey Heatherman to learn from. And the team stepped up to keep the game close. The finishing game was the error, and we seen that against Florida State. We seen where with the Florida Gators, it stayed close till we took off in the end. We see that they only stick to running up the middle gaps, which is the duo run scheme, and I understand that, y'all. But listen, our O-line could be big, but remember this, y'all. When they pack that box on you, I don't care who you are. You could be Hercules, you could be, I don't care who you are, man. Put 20 rocks, the rocks in there, Dwayne Johnsons, y'all. I don't care who you are. You ain't stopping that. Okay, so that's why you got dudes like Jordan Lyle. You got speed on the team. You send them outside. When you did that sweep with Malachi Tony, you could see, y'all, go look at the film. You see that the whole thing was, the whole team, the whole defense was tricked. They were stacking the box in the middle. When they seen Tony just go out with that speed, they're like, man, what's the point of even chasing this man? This man gone. If you would have just did that and started tricking them, because now they're watching Tony, so now you use Tony as decoy and send Marion, which got hella speed on the jet sweep, and then you start running outside wide with Lyle. Don't put Jordan Lyle up the middle like a power back. Y'all want to set some of these kids up for failure. We can name some guys that left Miami program and have had success. All right, Chris Johnson, Horton, I mean, a lot of guys might even hit the transfer portal on us now, y'all. I'll show y'all what we could do with Jordan Lyle with an HB stretch. I did it with CFB 26, went to the national championship with Miami, and I only had 2 losses. And then I went all the way into the national championship with the Hurricanes. And look at this play right here I'm playing for y'all with Jordan Lyle, HB stretch, which was a game against South Carolina, which went to the end. But I'm just showing y'all the one play I'm saying our O-line can adapt to, and we can practice, and we go out wide with Jordan Lyle's speed, and we're gone. And we can still move the chains. But, hey, look, y'all, I'm sorry. These past 2 games, we've been inconsistent with the running. I mean, we take no credit from Louisville. Their execution was crazy. Their game plan and Jeff Brohm, they out-schemed us from the beginning. Their clock management and their finishing game. When we were in field goal range with a chance to tie, Beck's intercepted pass was like, 32 seconds left, 3 timeouts. Come on, man. We snapped our 10-game home winning streak, y'all. It also impacts our conference standing and our hopes for a college football playoff run. We do have a good resume, y'all. We do. That's the pretty good part about that. But at the end of the day, like I said, our quarterback play. But the main thing with me, man, the run game inefficiency is something we can't have if y'all want to just rely on the duo concept and it's not working 2 games in a row. Obviously, we need to adapt, y'all. We need to adjust. The coaching and scheme is the big concerns for me. And Carson Beck, I don't know, some people it was what, the worst game of his career? Some people, oh, the Georgia Beck is back. I've seen this kid have like good, all of a sudden now under Dawson, y'all, he's had the worst game of his career. I understand he was a pick machine, but under Dawson, he had the worst game of his career, y'all are telling me? I mean, I know they said he's pooped the bed before too, but under Dawson, the worst game of his career. Isn't that something to think about? Yo, sometimes you got to take the check downs. I understand, Beck, okay, the plays are called. You got to execute better. Yes, no doubt. You're trying to go up top. But then when you instill that mentality, like when y'all went on FSU and y'all thought y'all could do that at every DB, and Louisville's defense were not pushover, y'all. And then we're known that we don't use like RPOs. We have offensive line athleticism, and we need to diversify the offensive scheme, including like pulling concepts with outside runs and RPOs to better utilize that. Okay, we still competitive. We still can be contenders. Carson Beck has to stop trying to put on the cape and think he has to save the day every time. Okay, but at the same time, if you as an O-line coach or a quarterback coach, if you stop the efficiency, a running back coach, or all the positional coaches that choose which players stay in, because remember, this is a team sport. People will not get away with just taking one part of the blame, when at the end of the day, you can't just give one part of the blame to anybody, because if you're a positional coach, you're the one that controls who goes in where and goes, that's it. It's just what it is to execute these plays, right? Who's in the skybox watching these games? I really want to know that at this point, not just down there coaching, man. I really want to know that, because that's going to, if you're up there, how are you not seeing what we're seeing? There has to be some switch ups. Beck has to stop trying to be the hero and try to go downfield all the time. Take the check downs. People try to clip farm the post conference after the game saying that he threw Elijah Lofton under the bus. If the wrong route was ran, miscommunications are happening, that needs to be fixed. But number one thing needs to be fixed was penalties. What do we have? We gave over 68 yards in penalties. Think about it. That's almost a whole football field. Got to adapt to that at the end of the day. Being out schemed and then also having the better players, but also not knowing what to do with them is the worst. And then we got all these other receivers. Why are we not rotating people? As D lineman, Bain, Mesidor, the splash bros, right? You need to rotate people so they don't play how many snaps a game, and then we don't got no bye no more. We got all these weeks left. These guys get tired. These guys are prone to injury, man. Mesidor played damn near through an injury. I'm not saying take away from them too much, but let them rest, man. Let them be on point, because you take away them by the fourth quarter. Isn't that maybe a reason we're so gassed out, because you're not giving no rotation? And we take off at a certain point. I'm not understanding, because there's a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to adjusting. That's a fact. And what were Dawson's biggest wins before Miami? We could take it back. Houston Cougars, when he beat Auburn Tigers 21, the Birmingham Bowl. The win was 17-13. Wasn't like an explosive offense, but it was a bowl victory over an SEC opponent. It did help Houston finish 12-2, top level for a G5 coordinator at the end of the day, Then you had Golden Eagles, Houston Cougars 2021 season, 4-year offensive coordinator role, record 12-2, 8-0 in the conference. The season is a major achievement. He obviously dominated conference record. We haven't done that in Miami, and obviously the multiple seasons in Dawson's offenses that produce big play totals, but it's nothing that's explosive that we're going to sit here and say, wow, these things have been huge and great wins to top 5 teams or anything like that. I think that came with Miami. The best part of his career, I'd say, came with Cam Ward in Miami, and we all witnessed to see that. Past 20 games is something that throws my mind, right? Because under Mario Cristobal, we lost games where we were double-digit favorites, y'all. We've lost some of them even at home. Today, I did see the Hurricanes interviews and saw Beck mention about making less mistakes, executing better. He spoke about not trying to throw Lofton under the bus. But the main thing I like that I heard from him, meaning that was brought up to him, was taking the checkdowns, y'all. Not trying to put the cape on. I hope it'll reflect and show on an awful Stanford pass defense. Also want to see if Dawson adjusts accordingly to the way teams have started preparing against our run game. They've been trying to force Beck to pass in the air on an air-raid explosive passing scheme where they feel like he'll make mistakes, and some of them been right. If Beck just takes the open 5 to 10 yards, he can be great. We saw that against Notre Dame. The mistakes weren't there. If you give me 4 touchdowns with 1 interception, I could take that. But 4 picks or 5 turnovers, 11, 12 possessions in a game, you give away 4 or 5 times with those flags. Think about it, y'all. We beat ourselves, really. We were still in the game and beat ourselves. So that just lets you know we just need to sprinkle in the explosive plays throughout the game and switch up the running adjustment accordingly. So that way teams aren't just always packing the box and knowing what we're doing. When we did that sweep, I repeat again, we scored. They didn't even know what happened. You could go look at that. They're looking like, oh, shoot, this dude just ran on the outside. Malachi Tony and Keelan Murray, and their speed is outstanding. But last year, I'll admit, Dawson's offense was the only thing kept us in the game and helped us succeed because the defense didn't. But due to what I'm seeing this year, it shows how great Cam Ward was, because this year Corey had them in defense, and I'm so grateful for that. They've kept us in the game. I liked how he adjusted against Louisville, but also the fact of his defense. If we would have had the same defense as last year, this year, we would have probably lost all our games, maybe not all our games, because against USF, that was the most balanced game we had. We passed the ball out more to people. Joshua Moore stood out to me. And that's the most balanced game, in my opinion, I think we had. Beck did, 4 touchdowns? They even ran for a touchdown, right? Something like that. And then plus our defense held them to, less than 18 points. And they're, number 12 right now? So they're a great offense. But that, if we play like that, man, I feel like that was a great executed game. And at the end of the day, you just have to bring out trick plays, RPOs, run play options, man, things like that. So that way you give Beck more of a chance to see what's going on and take certain plays, not just try to force the air raid scheme and just say, hey, go explosive. If it is, it's fault, because lack of execution is the player's fault, y'all. So due to what I'm seeing this year, we see how great Cam Ward really was, because last year, if we didn't have Cam Ward, the offense might not have been what it was supposed to be, right? And we would have lost all those games too. Good thing we did beat Louisville last year. But by the time you see this, we probably already played Stanford. And the biggest games would be SMU on the road and Pitt. That can be tricky. I hope all these things can be addressed by the time y'all see this video. In the Stanford game, that's going to be the best game for Carson Beck to show how he's taking this loss and the team, how they're coming back. Stanford's pass defense sucks. I hope Beck can start taking checkdowns and read some defenses and know, hey, there's going to be tougher things down the road. And let's get ready for SMU. No more buys. SMU and Pitt could be real deadly. So we're going to see if we want to win these games, that those adjustments can be made, because these games I really do believe they can be tricky on for this ACC. We got to win out, because SMU's undefeated in the conference, if I'm not mistaken. It might not be ranked in the top 25, but for the conference, I'm saying we can't lose anyways. We're relying on our playoff ability to be able to stay in the top 12 to be able to make it to the playoffs. If we lose any game ahead to any of these teams, unranked or whatever, we'll fall out that top 12 and we don't make the playoffs. Last year, we fell short to Syracuse, right? And we blew a 21-0 lead. So if we want to win these games, those adjustments have to be made. So what do y'all think? Am I tripping? This offense needs to tighten up. Thanks to the defense. Scott, he's a beast. Bain, Mesidor. Let's get some rotation going. What else y'all think in the comments? Also, hashtag where's JoJo Trader? Because every week, us Hurricanes, that's all we asking, right? I see it on every podcast, every blog, every Instagram post. Where's JoJo? We got Nycar, Upshaw. We got so much talent that we could pass around. Obviously, we got power backs. Marty Brown gives you the best of both. Fletcher, too. But, yo, let's give a sweep. Let's give a wide zone. Let's do some little things like that. By the time y'all see this video, comment if we did make those adjustments. It'll probably be the Stanford game done, and we'll be on our way to SMU. Thank y'all for joining the channel and watching this video. Consider subscribing if you're tuned in to college football and football in general. I like this channel to be versatile. I got a giveaway for a super short print out of 15 cracked dice, graded 10. Cameron Ward on my next video coming up, y'all. If you're interested, whether you're a Tennessee fan, Miami fan, however, this channel will not just be about the Canes, but you will see a lot of Miami things on this channel, noting the fact I am a Miami fan forever, right? By the way, Notre Dame, we rooting for y'all. I know we're rivals, but right now, the more y'all win, you guys can make us look way better and can punch your way to the playoffs. Now, let me tell y'all this crazy scenario about Notre Dame being kicked out, right? They don't have some great games coming up, like major, notably games coming up on their resume, but they did play really well. Their running game picked up, and that will be taken into consideration. Miami did beat them, right? Now, watch this predicament. What if Georgia Tech goes all the way undefeated and even beats Georgia, right? They go 12-0, but then they play Virginia in the ACC championship game, right? Because Virginia beat Louisville, right? And then out of nowhere, Virginia beats Georgia Tech in the ACC championship game. They squeeze into the top 12 and kick Notre Dame out with the 2 losses. Wouldn't that be something, y'all? It would be undefeated right now if it wasn't for that pick in the end zone by Chandler Morris. All right, y'all. Much love, and thanks for joining once again. I hope to see y'all on the next one, but for now, be safe and stay blessed, y'all.